My friends, I got to admit to you, this has me scratching my head. New Hampshire officials are now confirming they are looking into removing President Trump from the upcoming ballot. The state attorney general and secretary of state releasing a joint statement reading in part, the secretary of state's office has requested the attorney general's office to advise the secretary of state regarding the meaning of Section 3 of the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution and the provision's potential applicability to the upcoming presidential election cycle. Trump supporters see this as just another cog in the machine, trying to prevent the America First agenda from ever getting back into the White House. For more, let's bring in our panel. First, we have Trump spokeswoman and former RNC spokeswoman Liz Harrington. We also have Trump's deputy director of strategic communications and the founder, and CEO of Daravi Strategies, Roma Daravi. Welcome to you guys both. Liz, is the Trump campaign aware of this effort in New Hampshire, and what's being done to address it?
Well, yes, we are, Chris. And I think this kind of gives the game away, right, of what all these sham indictments are really all about. They are terrified to face President Trump fair and square at the ballot box. And this is just another attempt to really, they claim to be protecting the Constitution, and they're shredding it in the process. We will use every legal means to combat this and to actually defend the Constitution. And it's also interesting that they bring up the 14th Amendment, which also states that has a clause in there about aiding and abetting the enemies of the United States. Well, who has done more to aid and abet our enemies than Joe Biden, who's given operational control of our border to the cartels and human traffickers, who gave away Afghanistan and killed 13 brave men and women in the process, who's given away our energy independence while then selling off our strategic reserves to China, and of course taken millions of dollars in bribes from our enemies. So if they want to go down that road, there's plenty that we can use.
Yeah, don't forget the 65 Democrats who voted against holding China accountable for their malign activity toward the United States. By the way, there's a McLaughlin poll out there that says that President Trump it's a landslide electoral victory over Joe Biden, too, which goes more to your point, Liz. Roma, on the Biden crime family, the Federalist is reporting that then U.S. Attorney David Weiss, his job was to run interference for the Bidens to protect Hunter Biden in an effort to thwart GOP investigations. Now, this comes as the National Archives confirms it has at least 5,400 emails where Joe Biden uses fake names to discuss government information with his son. And now we're learning even more federal agencies were in on this. The DOD, the Department of Defense, is said to have provided the servers for this activity. Democrats aren't even trying to hide their corruption anymore, are they? Do you see the GOP, Roma, adequately rising to meet this corruption?
Look, Chris, we've known from the beginning when Donald Trump ran for president back in 2015, he told America, he told Washington, D.C., he was coming here to drain the swamp. So it's no surprise that corrupt bureaucrats are doing everything they can, corrupt or not, to go after President Trump. They're really just throwing everything in the kitchen sink, trying to see what sticks. And, that's why we really need to have people like you and Newsmax and really true Americans out there sharing the reality of the situation and the facts versus the headlines that you get from the mainstream media. Because you and I know better than anyone. We work together nearly every other day when I was at the White House because we trust you. And it really does take an honest press in order to get the news across, which we don't have that. So we haven't ever had that, right? So now more important than ever, we need to really pay attention to the fine print. Educate yourselves and understand that this is not going to be an easy fight. We don't have a fair battle here. And President Trump is not going to get distracted by that either. You saw just yesterday he put out his plan to bring back manufacturing of medicines from overseas. He's focused on national security. He's focused on protecting the American people, no matter what the swamp is trying to do to him.
Yeah, China threatened us during the height of the pandemic to remove our medications. And, President Trump learned from that. It's a shame that nobody else in government apparently has learned from that. Liz, speaking of President Trump, he says he would jail his political opponents if he wins re-election. He said this in an interview with Glenn Beck. Trump says that he would have no choice because that is exactly what Joe Biden and the Democrats are doing to him and to other people. Now, some are saying that two wrongs don't make a right. But others are saying that since the Democrats are setting this precedent, that Trump should implement the Democrats' unfair standards against them so they would be disincentivized to steal Americans' rights in the future. Who's right on this?
Well, President Trump is exactly right, because you have to look at what's actually going on here. The only way to really, truly drain the swamp is to bring accountability. First, they spied on him. Now they're trying to falsely imprison him. They're getting worse because there's been no accountability. They've lied to the FISA courts. They've framed President Trump for false crimes. They've pinned everything that the corrupt people have been doing falsely on him when it came to Ukraine and the first impeachment hoax. So there has to be accountability. And the major difference is these people actually committed crimes. President Trump has done nothing wrong. And we talk about obstruction. Hillary Clinton took bleach bit to her server and hammers to BlackBerries. And what did the FBI do? They gave immunity out to all of her aides. Those weren't real investigations. They were cover-ups for the ruling class. So that's what President Trump is talking about here. And we better get tough and smart, mainly the Republicans. They need to start wielding the power that they have in Washington, or we won't have a country left.